Taping? Hello? Testing, 1, 2, yes. Okay, here's number 5. This time we're not multiplying, we're adding. Or in this case, we're subtracting. So what we have to do is find the common denominator. We cannot add or subtract fractions unless we have a common denominator. It's an algebra problem, so we have to factor the denominators. The first one, denominator x minus 4, is already factored. We don't do anything with that. But the x squared minus 7x plus 12 can be factored. It starts with a 1 in front, so it's simply 2 parentheses. How do I get x squared? X times x. The middle sign is negative, so that negative goes right there, first sign. The second one is positive, so the signs have to be the same. Since the first one's negative, the second one is negative. Now, I need two numbers, here and here. That when I multiply them, I get this 12. When I add, that's a plus sign. When I add them, I get the number in the middle, 7. What times 1 gives me 12? When I add, I get 7. The answer is 4 and 3. Now, I'm looking for a common denominator. I include the biggest denominator I have, which is this one. All of that goes down. It's part of my common denominator. Now I go to the second denominator, this one. The x minus 4 is already down here, there, so I don't need that, and I don't have anything else. So this is my common denominator. It includes this x minus 4, this x minus 4, and this x minus 3 are all there. The x minus 4s are different denominators, so I only have one of each, so I only need one in my common denominator. Take the common denominator, x minus 4 times x minus 3, put it on top of the first fraction, also put it on top of the second fraction, and cancel. What cancels? Well, this x minus 4 and x minus 3 cancel with x minus 4 and x minus 3. They're all gone. On the left side, the x minus 4 on top cancels with the x minus 4 on the bottom. So we now have this 2x here times the x and times the negative 3. I have to distribute. That will give me 2x times x is 2x squared, and 2x times 3 is a negative 6x. And then we have a negative 8 here. Everything else is canceled, so we have negative 8. Notice that there's a 2 there, a 6 there, and an 8 here. So what's common between the three of those? A 2. Take the 2 out. That leaves you x squared minus 3x minus 4, because I have to divide 2 out of each one of these. But now I can take the trinomial, this one, and I can factor it. I have 2 times, down there, 2 times, 2 parentheses. How do I get x squared? X times x. What sign goes in the... This is a negative. It comes down in the first spot. That's negative. And the last one is a negative, so the signs have to be different. Since the first one is negative, the second one has to be a positive. Now, what two numbers, here and here, do I get? I have to multiply them and get 4. When I subtract them, I have to get that 3. What times what gives me 4? When I subtract them, I get 3. 4 and 1, and the big one always goes first. So this is my numerator. Factored all the way down. My common denominator is over here. Bring it underneath. So I have x minus 4 times x minus 3. Now what cancels? The x minus 4 on top cancels with the x minus 4 on the bottom. And I'm left with 2 times x plus 1 on the top over x minus 3 on the bottom. And that's what I get when I subtract these two fractions. There's problem number 5. Problem number 6. There's the actual problem. The directions say find the domain in this problem. Well, this is a fraction. When I have a fraction, the answer is all real there's usually some exceptions. Here's how you find the exceptions. Take the denominator only and write it down, x squared minus 2x minus 3, and make it equal to 0. The denominator of a fraction cannot be 0. So my exception is, when is the denominator 0? Those numbers don't work. So what I do is I take the trinomial, this one, and I factor it. There's a 1 in front, so therefore, all I do is make 2 parentheses. How do I get x squared? X times x. Middle sign is negative, so the first binomial is a negative in the middle. The last one is negative, so they have to be different. The first one's negative, so the second one has to be positive. Negative times a positive gives me the negative. Now, what two numbers give me 3 when I multiply? When I subtract them, I get 2. What times what is 3? When I subtract them, I get 2. The answer is 3 and 1. So now I say, okay, this is equal to 0. Actually, what it is this is not equal to 0. They cannot be equal to 0. So now I take the first one, x minus 3, let that equal 0. Take x plus 1, let that equal 0. Let each of the terms be equal to 0, and solve for x. Add 3 to both sides. The 3's cancel. X equals 3. Over here, subtract 1 from both sides. X equals negative 1. Those cancel. But what are these? These are exceptions. X cannot be 3, and x cannot be a negative 1. So back over here, what's my answer? All real numbers except x is not equal to 3, and x is not equal to negative 1. And that is my answer. Every number works in that fraction unless the bottom is 0. The bottom is 0 when x is 3 and x is a negative 1. So those are what we call the exceptions. They don't work. Everything else works just fine. Number 7. We're multiplying these together. And what we're going to do, we don't have any exponents out here, so we don't have to worry about this one. We don't have any here, so we don't have to worry about those. There's nothing there. So we simply go, I'm going to take x to the 1/2 times x to the 2/3 times y to the 1/2 times y to the negative 1. I'm rewriting them, putting the x's together and the y's together. When I multiply, what do I do with exponents? For instance, over here, if I have x squared times x cubed, what is my answer? It is x to the 5th, because I'm adding the 2 and the 3 together. When I'm adding numbers with the same base, multiplying numbers with the same base, I add the exponents. So over here, I am going to take x and I am going to take 1/2 plus 2/3. Over here, I'm going to take y 1/2 minus 1. And I'm going to add these fractions together in both cases. Let's do the x's. I have 1/2 and 2/3. What's my common denominator between 2 and 3? It is 6 and 6. So I'm going to add 1/2 and 2/3, but I'm going to add the 6's. So 1/2 is how many over 6? 3. You can take 2, this 2 divided into 6 is 3, and 3 times 1 is 3. Over here, this 3 divided into the 6 down here gives me 2, and 2 times 2 there gives me 4. So I have x to the 7/6 power. That's my x answer. On the y's, again, my common denominator is 2, and this 2 and this 2 is 1, so it's 1 times 1 is 1, and 1, what is 1? Well, it's 1 over 1, which is the same as a negative 2 over 2. 1, that 1 goes into this 2 twice, and the answer is 2, and 2 times 1 is 2. 1 over 1 is 2 over 2. So this y is, can't see it, y is 1 minus 2 is a negative 1 over 2. And we're done. We're simply taking the fractions here for the x's and adding them together, and we're taking the fractions for the y's and adding them together. That is problem number 7. Problem number 8, we've done this a whole bunch of times. This shouldn't take very long at all. I have the square root of 16, so I have 16. I need to break 16 down. What prime number goes into 16? 2 goes in 8 times. What goes into 8? 2 goes in 4 times. 2 goes into 4 twice. Circle your pairs. I have a pair of 2's. I have another pair of 2's. This pair of 2's is a 2. This pair of 2's is another 2. And 2 times 2 is 4. The 4 comes outside. I have the square root there. All right. How many numbers? What number? The 4 is outside. What number is not circled? None. So there's no number left inside. Go to the x to the 10th. How many pairs of x's do I have if I have 10 x's? Well, I have 5. So I bring the x outside. How many pairs do I have? 5. So I have the exponent of 5. How many x's are left for the inside? 0. There are none left. Take the y's. How many pairs? I have 6 y's. If I have 6 of them, how many pairs do I have? 3. How many y's are left inside? None. There is nothing left inside. Everything came outside, so I don't need this radical sign at all, and my answer is right there. 4x to the 5th, y to the 3rd. And that is problem number 8. I'm going to stop the ticker.